Welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving straight into a fascinating anonymous expert report to synthesize what is, frankly, a massive array of federal regulations into an actionable roadmap. We aren't just looking at paperwork here. We're uncovering the hidden mechanisms, the cause and effect relationships, and those implicit rules that govern literally everything from legal status to tax compliance in the US system. We're going way beyond the surface level to give you the actual actionable insights you need to navigate this maze. Let's get into it.
Here's our quick roadmap for today. We'll start with establishing presence and status, then look at the asylum and court process, move into business and tax compliance, explore professional due diligence, and finally, verification and advocacy systems.
Section 1. Establishing presence and status. This is where we look at the very foundation, the digital architecture used to legally secure your place in the system.
Setting up your online federal portal account is really that first crucial step. It allows you to manage your status and effortlessly update your address across up to 25 pending cases at once. But let's actually analyze the mechanism here. As the expert reports indicate, the core idea is permission architecture. By forcing users to select a specific account type, applicant, legal representative, or organizational, the system is implicitly restricting and securely funneling access. An organizational account, for example, is strictly isolated for specific corporate petitions. The cause and effect relationship here is absolutely vital to grasp. Updating your address online dynamically applies to all those pending receipt numbers simultaneously. The implicit assumption is that failing to link all receipt numbers causes disjointed processing. This digital bottleneck means a single unlinked case could directly lead to missed correspondence, which of course delays vital work permits or residency cards. Master this digital checkpoint, and you control the flow of your entire case profile. Now, you might be wondering, why does your physical entry point change so drastically just based on your passport? Well, the underlying mechanism here is entirely jurisdictional. While both nations fall under the exact same broader trade agreement, the actionable insight is that your citizenship strictly dictates your physical application strategy. If you're launching a startup and hold Canadian citizenship, your entry point is immediate, right at the border. But if you hold Mexican citizenship, the required preliminary steps shift entirely, mandating a completely different sequence of pre-clearance. The rules on paper might look similar, but the geographical execution is entirely divergent.
This whole journey of establishing presence, it culminates in the naturalization ceremony, beautifully captured in this welcoming oath speech that really emphasizes the responsibilities of citizenship. Notice the cause and effect language used in these official proceedings. The acquisition of rights is immediately paired with the implicit duty of protection. It's a strict legal and cultural contract. The privileges of the system are granted in exchange for your commitment to uphold its foundational rule of law. Protection of the system itself is essentially the hidden permanent cost of entry.
Moving on to Section 2, the asylum and court process.
Okay, so an applicant has to legally prove they suffered persecution based specifically on one of these 5 protected grounds. The analytical key here, and it's a big one, is a concept called nexus. It is not enough to simply prove that violence or harm occurred. You must mathematically prove the causal relationship, the nexus, between the persecutor's actions and one of these 5 specific traits. Think of a real-world scenario where widespread regional instability forces people to flee. General violence or even a generalized fear in a country simply doesn't meet this strict statutory requirement. Without that clear, targeted nexus, the legal protection mechanism fundamentally fails to trigger.
But what happens when we compare standard protection to international conventions against extreme harm? It's absolutely vital to note that alternative protections focus solely on the likelihood of extreme harm without requiring that nexus we just talked about. The distinction in these legal mechanisms is profound. If an applicant cannot establish a connection to race, religion, or political opinion, international conventions act as an alternative safety net. The sole focus shifts to mathematical probability.
is it more likely than not that extreme intentional harm will occur. The motive of the persecutor becomes entirely irrelevant. The pure risk of harm becomes the single deciding factor for the court.
Let's pivot to Section 3, Business and Tax Compliance.
Just look at this clear timeline, dropping the reporting threshold for digital third-party payments drastically over the next few years. Why? The underlying mechanism here is the federal tax authority's deliberate strategy to systematically capture the gig economy. By aggressively lowering the threshold from $5,000 down to just $600, the cause and effect is immediate. Millions of microtransactions, weekend side hustles, and digital sales will now automatically generate official tax documentation. The actionable insight is clear. Whether you mentally feel like a formal business or not, the federal data architecture now officially treats you as one.
Navigating taxes obviously means dealing with jargon, like modified adjusted gross income. But here's why it matters. This determines if you qualify for vital financial benefits, like the Special Needs Adoption Credit. It perfectly illustrates how the government uses algorithms to phase out benefits. It isn't a hard cliff, it's a calculated slope. If your adjusted income hits exactly the upper limit, the mathematical trigger literally shuts the credit off entirely. Understanding how to legally adjust your gross income before you hit that threshold is a direct, critical lever for accessing these targeted federal funds. It's literally the difference between full funding and zero funding.
$40,000. That number is the maximum clean commercial vehicle credit you can claim for vehicles over 14,000 pounds. There's a very clear cause and effect relationship at play here. The federal government is utilizing the tax code to rapidly accelerate environmental policy. By offering such a massive subsidy per heavy vehicle, with literally no limit on the number of vehicles you can claim, they are deliberately restructuring the market. The implicit assumption is that the government is essentially offsetting private business risk to achieve public environmental goals. If you understand this mechanism, you can modernize an entire fleet largely on the federal dime.
Section 4, Professional Due Diligence.
If a professional is selected for a federal due diligence exam, they receive a specific inquiry letter and must meticulously follow these exact steps to prove they've properly verified their client's claims. Now you have to realize, this isn't just a random spot check. It's a highly systemic enforcement mechanism. The authority isn't just auditing the end taxpayer, they're actually auditing the professional's precise process. By requesting a sample of 25 specific files, they are looking for broad patterns of negligence. The actionable takeaway for any professional is that your internal questionnaires, your worksheets, and your client interviews must be exhaustively documented to survive this level of scrutiny.
This role-play excerpt really hits the nail on the head. It perfectly demonstrates how preparers must ask probing, specific questions to verify eligibility for complex tax benefits. The implicit assumption this system requires is that professionals cannot simply be passive order takers. They have to be active investigators. In this specific case, the mechanism of age limits on tax credits is entirely overridden by the mechanism of permanent disability. Understanding exactly how these competing rules interact and properly documenting that interaction is what truly defines professional due diligence.
Finally, Section 5, Verification and Advocacy Systems.
It's a really common misconception that this digital verification checkpoint holds your personal records. Actually, scratch that. It doesn't hold them at all. As we can see, it is purely a digital gateway that pings other existing systems. It's essentially an analytical engine that facilitates data flow. So the actionable insight here is that if a benefit agency denies you because a response from this gateway, you literally can't fix the error within the checkpoint itself. You must go upstream to the source, the original agency that generated your initial documents, to correct that fundamental data mismatch.
So, what happens if things go wrong? Say you face identity theft, unresolved tax issues, or unfair regulatory enforcement. That's exactly where these federal safety nets step in. Think of these as the structural release valves for bureaucratic pressure. For instance, internal federal watchdogs operate on a strict cause and effect model. If an agency unfairly targets a small business, the Watchdog Office can legally demand a high-level review within 30 days. These aren't just complaint boxes, folks. They are mandated intervention mechanisms designed to force systemic corrections when normal customer service inevitably fails. And definitely don't forget the incredible free global resources like the digital library networks provided by the federal system. They offer amazing multilingual support and research tools for your ongoing professional growth. This is a brilliant mechanism for cultural and academic integration, providing a staggering amount of peer-reviewed journals, global news, and educational material. It's a proactive tool for empowerment, really ensuring that once you navigate the maze, you have the robust resources required to thrive within it.
Knowing the rules absolutely changes the game. We've decoded the hidden mechanisms today, from digital account architectures to strict legal thresholds and those vital safety nets. The bureaucracy is incredibly complex, sure, but it is entirely predictable once you truly understand cause and effect. So the question remains, now that you can see the matrix of the federal system, how will you leverage these tools to master your own bureaucratic footprint? Thanks for joining me on this explainer.